Well, hello, and welcome everybody to join our adventure in International Gran Turismo 7 series. My name is Markus Viitanen, and I will be your another commentator today. And with me, I have my friend Petri Kuikka. Welcome, Petri.
Hello, everybody, and absolutely amazing to sit down on this studio.
Yeah, a new step will be taken in this Nordic Championship Series called Nordic Masters when we are starting our fifth season and now. And it is really great to see that our Icelandic friends also joined this journey with us. So what are your thoughts, Petri, about this upcoming season?
Of course, this is absolutely amazing. I'm really enjoying these 3G7 competitions and series, and of course, new country step in, and that's amazing too because I'm watching this competition quite a lot, and it's always great to have new friends here. So let's continue and see what's happening when the flag was. On the when they finish the race, and but let's see.
Yeah, let's see, and welcome everybody in chat. Also, keep it hot, and please ask your questions and everything if you have in your mind. We are trying to follow that also, and now we are starting our trip in this season, and we can see how it will be. We'll go during this spring. So we are starting in Interlagos today, and every third week we are taking a new step around our global adventure, and it will be great to see what will follow in this season. One point about the season I will take already, because our Danish brothers said that they cannot join this season, at least in the beginning of it. So let's see if Denmark will step on to the season during our next races. But hey, Petri, we are going one make series today, and we are having one very interesting car. So everybody is taking the same car during the season. What do you want to say to our followers about this Mercedes-Benz?
Absolutely amazing car. I think it's one of my favorite Mercedes-Benz AMG 3TD. It's made by 2020, and it's quite a lot powered V8 engine, almost 500 horsepower, and but the biggest thing about this car is the stock balance. You can quite easily to make it on your driving style, and of course we don't have open all the setups on this series, but you can change a little bit on the era, so you can make just the perfect balance on that car. And I think that's the one big thing about all these drivers to drive this car and get the best results from the race.
Yeah, indeed, this is one step closer again to the really tight series, and as we have been seen from the previous seasons already, that those have been driven in a one make series. This can be really tight series again, so it will be interesting to see how the drivers can and will take this Mercedes-Benz to their hands. And of course we will see how it will differ from the another races. I will follow the another screen also, and we have a few minutes to go, so let's go straightly to our today's platform in Interlagos, Brazil. How about, Petri? This is a really one of my favorite tracks in all time Gran Turismo, and every time of racing. What can you say about the Interlagos in Brazil?
And for me too, this is absolutely one of my favorite tracks, and it's a little bit tricky because the starting line and you can push so hard, but there's center corners and there's always chance that there might be some outgoing or you can hit another car or something, but that there's plenty of space on the other side of the track, but the middle section is quite tricky, and you really have to focus on driving and take good balance, and of course, maybe a little bit saving on tires. We see later on the race how the drivers drive that Mercedes-Benz, but so cool. A little bit over 4 kilometers, 15 corners, and 35 laps, and great race. And I really rate it. Amazing.
Yeah, I will also will be interesting to follow up how about the Mercedes-Benz. It is a front engined and a rear wheel driving car, and as you said before, it has a lots of torque and lots of power, so it might wear those tires a bit. So we will see how this will end after about an hour. As you saw from the beginning about our schedule, we are a bit late about that, but we are still having this 1 or 2 lap qualification before a race, and it will be starting a few minutes as we can then have this or our starting grid ready, and then we are having our main event after that. So let's see, Petri, what will happen during that. And as from the because of the Denmark didn't join this race, so we have 3 drivers per country in this first lobby. So we are having 12 racers in this start in both lobbies. We are having 2 lobbies, and let's see what will happen in during season. So Petri, I think we have a 1 minute countdown, and if you would like to see about the times what have been driven, so that this is from the pre-qualification, first 12 drivers drove pretty evenly. I have to say it was like a half a minute between first and 12 drivers.
Yes, it was quite close, and of course there's absolutely amazing drivers here in our lobby, and I'm waiting so much on the tight competition, and I think the qualification will be a little bit tricky to stream, but it starts about 5 seconds, so let's go to the track and see what's happening on the qualification.
Yeah, we will do that, and as you said, it will be really intensive, spectacular when we are having this 5 minute period when drivers have to take their laps. They can drive, I think it's an out lap and 2 fast laps. It is possible to have in this 5 minute period. So let's go to the track and see how our drivers will conquer this Interlagos track. It will be really interesting to see who will be the first one in a grid.
Oh yes, and like I said, there was plenty of amazing and fast drivers, and of course one thing what I really want to say is how you take your position on the track, and you have a free track to drive and try to get your best result, and the same thing on the upcoming race. So let's continue, and I think there's still 2 drivers on the pit lane still, and but all other drivers are on the track, so let's go over there.
Yeah, we will jump to the track and let's see how we are getting, and we are starting to sit in Team Sweden's Johansson's car. Eraser has maybe some of you will know him about that PSN name. So let's see how about Johansson is starting his fastest or first fast lap. So let's try to keep up with him. So as you can see about the car liveries, the car has been painted in a assuming it also, so they are presenting the national flag, so it will be interesting to see about those two. But hey Petri, let's go and see how it will be the first fast lap taken.
Yes, and I have to say that the liveries are absolutely amazing based on the country flags, and that's one big thing on this team series, and it's just great to see. And we have plenty of people on the YouTube watching this live stream, and of course I'm watching the live chat, and if you have any questions, I'm trying to do my best to answer all these questions. And one thing I have to say, I was just sitting on almost 2 hours on the GT Finland races Super Formula Series ending race, and it was so cool to jump here back and watch this 3 driving here. It's a little bit slower lap times, but totally different cars, and so amazing. Always great to be here in the studio.
Yeah, and I will take you some note about the drivers. The Kimpe in currently position 6. He has a Finnish flag in his, but he's participating in a team at Sweden. So the flags doesn't mean necessarily how they are presenting their country. As same as it been in a Team Iceland. There's some drivers in English lap flag, so don't mind about that. The car liveries will say better how they are presenting their countries. But let's see how Olaf Thor Einar is having his first fast lap, and what will be his position. And after that, and it was a really quick time. The Nost took his place in as fourth, currently in about 0.3 seconds from the slipstream. So the Team Sweden and Norway, Sweden. So let's see when the Finns are getting their fighting back. So it will be interesting to see how about Sami Kananen in 7th position now, and about another drivers Hauge in Norwegian team and now in 11th. So now the Finns are starting to rise. Leinonen in position 10 and Könönen in position 11. So I think the Könönen in 11th position took some kind of hard times because it is 10 seconds to the top. So let's see if he can better that up.
Oh yes, and Markus Könönen was one of the latest drivers on the track, and it's always a little bit tricky to find your space on the track, and maybe there's a little bit have to take pushing off or something like that. But so far, slipstreams, he's the fastest, quite nice time, 1:29.8, and let's see how fast these drivers can drive this. But I think there's still a couple drivers on fast lap, so let's see and what's happened on the starting grid.
Yeah, Olaf Thor Einar took a huge gap and a step to the forward, and he sometimes took about the position 3, but Olbeck dropped him to the position 3. So seems like it's happening. Oh no, the first one is Jökull Hofransson. So he now in the last lap took his time and took the first position for the. So let's see what will be happening, and after that. So. And Könönen also took a step, and the second one to the Finn. So let's see there. He was the last driver in the track. So let's see. This might be our starting grid to the next first race in this Nordic Masters series today. So will be see. So sorry about my name pronunciation. Fransson was first one and only 48,000 before the Könönen, and another slipstream in 39,000 after him. So hey Petri, look about those times. There's like 1.1 second between 1 and position 6. So it can be a little bit tight. in the race also.
Yes, I can hardly see so tight qualification on this track, and of course this means they are pro drivers and they do their best on the qualification, so this is gonna be great on the race, and of course always the tactic is a big thing on these races. This is so tight competition on these days, and it matters a lot how you can go to the pit lane and take your position after that.
Yeah, it was a little bit changes for the rules in between the season 4 and season 5. So I think we are having a little bit different kind of races today. So the drivers, there's so much room for the tactics about the tire wear and so, because now the fuel wear will be mandating how they are pitting. So I think today we are seeing a pretty intensive race, because all the drivers can now try flat out and see how they will join, how well they will take their position during the race. So it will be really intensive and interesting to see how the tactics will change. I think there's 2 tires that need to be used, the racing soft and racing medium, and it doesn't matter how you are taking them, at least 3 laps will need to be driven about with those tires. So let's see about the results from the qualification after or before we are starting our grid. So Petri, please let the viewers and followers know how intensive it was, about at least from these position 1 to 12.
Yes, and on our live chat, Simo says that my voice is a little bit silent, but I'm check my microphone a little bit closer, and I hope that, Simo, you can confirm that is my voice any louder here. But maybe I was a little bit step back too much here in my studio. But so cool. 35 laps. We're going to see amazing race, and it's always so different that we are doing a lot of these Finnish streams on these Finnish competitions, and now we have a lot of new names and drivers here. So this is always challenge to the drivers to go to the track and find their position, and good fight over there.
Yeah, and as we are, or you can see from the results of the qualification, all the 12 drivers between 1 second, under the 1 second, barely, but under the 1 second. So, Petri, 12 drivers, as you said, it can be really close when you are putting those kind of masteros drivers to the grid. So let's see, we are starting our race, so let's see how will happen, and keep up the good work in the chat, ask your questions, and please remember to subscribe and follow, and have a pleasant journey with us. And we are going to the track now, and we are seeing how the start will go. The flat or lights are turning red, and now they are closing up, and we are ready to start our journey in this Nordic Masters Series number 5 in 2025, and let's see how their first corners will be taken. Hopefully they are taking their paces and places, and looks like better they are knowing what they are doing. No pushing and no nothing about that, and a clean start to this race.
Yes, it was absolutely amazing, nice and clean start, and the cars taking nicely their positions. But the fight is already begun on the track, and this is so amazing to follow how the drivers drive over there. So let's continue. I think one of the drivers just step out on our lobby before the start. So that's sad, but that's what it is, and we continue here.
Yeah, let's hope that it was nothing so serious, and maybe can join in another lobby also, but let's see how they are taking. The Icelandic team is taking the first place and taking their cap in almost 1 second in the first lap, so let's see what will can the team Finland Könönen and Wahlbeck from Norway and Stripsim from Sweden follow that pace that Jökull Fransson is taking in a P1. So really intensive first lap, and we are live, and we are living in this one kind of really intensive and beautiful race, and the battle between Egilson in P10 and Andersen and in P11 is also tight when the first corner is coming, and Andersen is trying to overpass the Egilson, but no way he's going to move that car from those lines. So everybody is fighting in their position, and really nice to see how this will end after about 50 minutes in this 35 lap race. So please follow us, and please keep up in a good work.
And there's little difference between the drivers. There's some of the drivers start the race racing medium, and some of racing soft. So there's gonna be a little bit difference on this the start of this race. And of course we see on the track. But of course, if you are using soft tires, you really have to use them in the beginning of the race. And if you just stay on that line, and you can use the soft tires potential, so that may be not so good in the end of the race, but let's see what's going to happen over there.
Yeah, you can see the possible strategies in your screen now. So when drivers, you ask about how about mandatory tire. Yes, there are both tires, soft and medium, must be used at least for 3 laps. So about 14 laps that fuel will last, so maybe that will be the time they are using the two soft compound series, and only one shorter period about this medium one, maybe in a first laps or in between those soft stints. So let's see what will happen. Jökull Fransson is still going in a P1, and he have a good pace, and looks like there's Könönen in a second one, but the Wahlbeck, Stripsim, Johansen and Kananen, no, there's like a Wahlbeck was on 2 Swedes in a P3 to P5, so the Swedes are trying to pass Wahlbeck in a 3rd position. So let's see what will happen about that. And then in the medium or mid class in a race, Kananen in a P6, Olafur Einar in 7th, and Kimpe Sweden and Haag 9th in after that. So tight race. Maybe the 5 or 6 cars in P6 to P11 are driving from the same position. So intensive as we thought, and now it is interesting to see, as you said, the later cars in maybe under the 7th position are taking that medium compound firstly to the beginning of this race. As you can see in home views, also to the bottom left corner there's a RM, and you can see how the tires will be wore in this race. So you can see what kind of compounds the drivers are currently using.
Yes, and it's quite a steady situation on the front row. There's everybody just driving, and they're looking what the other drivers going to do there, and there's not so much a big fight or anything on the top of the drivers. But let's see, quite interesting thing, and I think one of the Finnish drivers just left the room when the starting light was on the starting group, but let's see, he's out on the race, and I hope we can get some message what's gonna happen over there.
Yeah, if you can get touch to the Leinonen, please ask and put to the chat also what happened. Maybe some technical issues between hän and Olof Einar is sliding into that last corner, and that was not so great place to slide because how you start or exit from that last corner will define how you are taking this wall straight. And as you can see, Kimpe is already fighting to the pass Einar and maybe took in the first try in the first corner, and also Kimpe and Hog is taking this same trying to get past the Icelandic driver, but not yet. He was like defending his position really well, and now the Einar on also dropped from the at least position 7 to position 8, and now Hog also got his time to take this overpass, and now I think the position have been changed at least for the while, but they are fighting in a really tight fight in position 8 and position 9 in Norwegian and Icelandic teams.
Yes, I'm scrolling all these drivers and looking so good. Everybody's car has quite good shape. There's no damage on anybody, and of course the tires are looking good. There's plenty of fuel left, but there's I can see little difference between the drivers on how they using power and how much fuel they use, and we are just driving about 5 laps. We starting on lap 6, so I think that's the one interesting thing on this race, that how the drivers can control the car and maybe a little bit save the fuel, all tires, or is they are just putting hardest that they can.
Yeah, as you said in the beginning of our studio or pre-race studio, there's some kind of a tuning that is allowed during this race. So how about those? Drivers can adjust their at least the downforce and brake balance. I think the downforce will be affect a little bit more than the brake balance for this car. How about the Petri? What does it affect about how the downforce has been tuned for these cars?
I think the best result is this Mercedes is a quite balanced car straight from the stock, and you can just a little bit change the aerodynamic settings these cars, and you can get the absolutely perfect balance of this car. And I think that's the one big thing what the drivers can do. And I was just watching, no one of these drivers don't use the traction control, and I think everybody using ABS braking system. So maybe a slight little different settings on these cars, but I think I focus how fast the car is going to these long straights, and that's one thing what you can change a little bit on those aero settings.
Yeah, now we are starting to go to the lap 7. That was our possible strategies if the drivers have started with the racing medium tires, so they might get in, but that it depends how the drivers can make the soft compound last. If they are making it last at about that 14 laps, so maybe after this lap we are seeing our first pit stops. And as I recall right, the pit stop in Interlagos is pretty fast. Was I right, Petri?
Yes, 7 fastest drivers using soft tires, and rest of the drivers using medium. So let's see how far all these racing medium drivers will drive on these tires. There's a little difference on the lap times, not so much, but Slipstream's fastest time 1:30. So there's a little bit difference, but not so much between the racing soft and racing medium.
was seen in our stream at the first, or the driver in a P11 and just took his penalty. We are having our driving penalties on, or track penalties on, so the track will take those penalties off from the drivers in the last corner. It is not the best place, Petri, if you are having like a 1 second penalty, as the driver just we saw had in the last corner when you need to start accelerating, and again it takes you like a 1 second full braking in between that rise from that hill. So not so best place to have this line when you are taking off those penalties. So it will maybe affect to the racing also, so the drivers need to be careful not to take those penalties during this race.
Yeah, especially if you're driving on the racing line and the game has just starts braking, so it's a little bit tricky, but I think these drivers are so experienced and they can handle it quite good. And of course there was 2 drivers on the pit lane, and they changed the racing medium to the racing soft, and now they can drive freely, and they just make the rules, and they can now race on these soft tires. But let's see when the other drivers came to the pit lane, and I think there was Andersen just driving in, and let's see, he's driving into the racing medium, so I think he's gonna change the racing soft, and let's see if he take any more fuel or something.
Yeah, I think the last stint, if the drivers will take this soft compound, even they have been started in a soft or medium tires, the last stint will be in a soft tire, so it will be really interesting to see in those last laps how they are chasing the last stint, or everybody coming in for that last 14 laps, or maybe somebody can make it a little bit further and have and drive and go and race with those soft compounds more than 14 laps that have been that we are expecting to soft compound last.
And so far it's looked like it's lasting quite long. Now we are heading to the lap 10, and soft tires looking so good on these cars. There's just a little actually I don't know how to say it, but they're looking good on those tires, and there's no reason to came into the pit lane, and so far looking good. And we have a message about the Leinonen, his game crashed when starting laps were turning out, so it's so sad, but this is sim racing, and that happens sometimes.
Yeah, let's see how about that. And that Nipro Racing has said about how about two stints or 2 pit stops. Yeah, that is indeed possible if you are driving in one stop also. The fuel might last only about 15 laps, and when we are driving 35 laps, if you are some kind of saving that fuel and having those longer stints with that medium drive, it is possible. But these are just like our spectating or specular. We are we are thinking maybe the most car drivers will take that 2-stop strategy. But hey, let's see how about the 1 stop. It might be also a good decision to have. So of course we are following that also, and keep your eyes on those strategies. We might see something a little bit that we are not expecting. That's the pretty great thing about these races. We are just expecting some kind of strategy, and drivers decide to have something else. So it is really interesting to see, at least and in these team races, as this Nordic Masters series also is.
And I really have to say that some drivers have a special skill to use less fuel than other drivers, so it might be possible to save fuel and that's just make only one pit stops. But let's see, if you are saving fuel a lot, you might be slow on the track, but it takes quite a lot of time to go to the pit and change tires, taking a little bit more fuel. So let's see what's gonna happen. This is always so great to see what the drivers are doing over there, and hard to wait that.
Yeah, that's true. And as we are seeing in P6, Kananen from Team Finland is pretty much driving by himself in P6, but every driver in P1 to P5 is pretty tight in those positions. And also as Kimpe in P7 now, I think it was, they're driving in P6 and P3 and P4 slips him against Johansen in Norwegian. So Wolbeck, I think he dropped a little bit in a P5 and something happened in between. So no, it's Johansen P3, Wolbeck, sorry, my bad. So it was P4 and P5. They are intensive racing against head-to-head and they are chasing position all the time, and cars in almost mirrors touching each other and only like a newspaper between every time they are passing and driving between. So we are following this fight from the P4 now, and Wolbeck drew a little bit wide about that, and straightly Johansen is taking advantage of that, and a little bit of touch from the Wolbeck to the Johansen's car, and now we are fighting continues between these various drivers, and so I think at least I know about the Johansen is he can drive so in a limit, and Wolbeck also is also have been driven in this series, so we know a bit something about those drivers already. So they are not taking anything back, and now for this time Johansen in a P4 and Wolbeck in a P5, but it was a pretty intensive lap, Petri, and now it starts all over again.
This is absolutely the best thing about this sim racing, hard fighting, and these are so good cars to make that driving and just pushing so hard, and these cars are not taking damage too easy, so you can really push and try to take your position, and like we see places 4 and 5, absolutely amazing driving, tough attack, and so great to see that driving on the track.
Yeah, Wolbeck take his really great move from the outside to the inside, like a crossing pattern to the turn 4, and took his place to the P4, but then Wolbeck just make his move back to the, so, and Kananen is joining this competition about P4 to P5. So let's see when the Finnish driver will only have 1 second between these two, so let's see what will happen. Also the driving between the P1, Johan Fransson has been making a little bit shorter by Könönen. He is only under 1 second, and now first one slips in from the P3 is coming inside, so we can see only 5% about fuel is remaining. So Johansen's fuel is fully ended, so you can also see from your own views about that the fuel tanks is pretty much clearly over, and now Hawk also from the medium tires. You can see that not so much fuel is lasting for the, but I think these two or maybe two the first drivers, your Fransson and Könönen, are driving a little bit longer. I hopefully hope that their fuel will last at least this lap will end, but it has been seen in Finnish racings also and national series also that drivers, when they are so intensive focused to that driving and racing, they might get lost about their strategies, and that will the team radios that the guys are using, it will help those making that the decision about the strategies and when coming and what kind of amounts of fuel and will the tires will be changed. And so, but we will see how about these two, P1 and P2, are they coming in and what will be happen after that. Wolbeck in a P3 and Kananen also in a P4. They haven't been pitting in yet. So what will happen now when this lap 14? And yes, they are both coming in. So let's see how about Wolbeck in a P3. Is he continuing? No, he's coming in also, and Kananen also. So we are driving this 14 lap stint in a first stop with those soft tires. So I think everybody will change to the medium or maybe the soft one. So let's see what will happen. Will they make those decisions to continue with the soft or taking those mediums? So please, Petri, keep eye on those tactics now.
Yes, absolutely. And both drivers on the front row, they just take the tank full and chasing Fransson using racing soft and Markus Könönen racing soft. So they're going to drive their last stint to the racing medium, and that's interesting too. But let's see what's gonna happen. There's not so big time difference between the drivers, so anything might happen. Great race so far, and the tires are not a problem on this track. The fuel is the main thing on this today's driving, and how you can a little bit save that might be give you 1 or 2 seconds on the pit stop, and so you can change your position on the track. So let's see. Interesting.
Really interesting, and a slipstream that took like an undercut one lap before the P1 and P2 is already behind those drivers. So he will take some advantage about that strategy, but let's see. Maybe he will take that one lap more with those medium tires in last stint. So let's see. As you said, he might get some advantage about that fuel saving when he is driving that one lap less than those P1 and P2. So let's see about that. And let's go to the list. Wolbeck in a P4, Johansson in a P5, and took some penalties from the first corners. That is a little bit a problematic place. The drivers intends to take some kind of advantage about that chicane, those turns 1 and 2. So now Johansson is taking that 1 second penalty in this lap, but his luck is about that Kananen is already 3 seconds behind him. So let's see how about the team Finns. Kananen is taking those 1 second penalty advantage about him. And P7 is Olafur Einarinen from Icelandic team and taking again his chase to the Kananen in P6. And Kimpe in P8 is fighting against Hauger. This battle have been, I think it is some kind of replay about the last laps before the pit stop. So let's see how this will end. Keep your eye on this battle between P8 and P9. I will go through the rest of the list. Andersen P10, 8 seconds behind Hogan, about 2-3 seconds before Egilson. So there's currently not so much battle between those, but this is interesting battle in P8, Kimpe vs Hog in P9. So 2 tenths between them, and now the Hog is in a draft. So let's see. Can he make his move in P8? Yes, he can. He may be too late about that braking, but he knew what he was doing. The car stopped beautifully to the corners and took that overpass to the P8, and it was. I think Hogan knew what he was doing because he started his braking so late. Wow, how about that, Petty?
Yes, I think too. That was so cool situation, and I was just watching how the Kananen get some like a little bonus of when Johansson have that 1 second penalty. I think the gap was about 3 seconds, but the 1 second cost on Johansson about 2 seconds, and now they have gap on less than 1 second. So let's see, and like you say, on those first center corners, they are so tight, and you have to focus on the braking on that last long straight, and take good lines on those first corners, and you can easily get on penalties on those. So you have to focus and keep the good balance on the track.
Yeah, as you said, that Johansson lost about 2 seconds in that penalty line. That was something I was mentioning about earlier, because the penalty line is in an uphill section in the last corner when you are starting to accelerate heavily, and when you are not using the TCS, the traction control, so the car needs to be straightforward, and after that, when the penalty line cuts your acceleration, and then you are not getting that most effort about that accelerating, and the cars behind are taking that full accelerating from the exit in last corner. So I think that was the reason, because the Johansson lost about so much time, but now he's going his normal pace and taking this gap much more wider, and already in 1.5 second between his and Kananen. So let's go to the back to the top, and Joko Liljeframsson is still continuing his P1. He has been there for a full race, and let's see if there's somebody who can take some fight to that battle also from the P1, and beautiful driving from the Icelandic team already.
Yes, absolutely amazing, and these three drivers on position 1, 2, and 3 are driving amazing race. The driving are so smooth and so controlled, and there's nothing what I can say that they're doing something wrong or anything. So let's continue and see what's happening on the next pit stop. But I don't think there's any fight or something. There's nice gaps between these drivers, and they're driving their own race on this time.
Yeah, and we will go back to the P6, and Johansson is driving far away from the Kananen, and now there's a new fight between Kananen and from the P7, Olafur Einar is now battling against him and taking the team Finland's P6. Maybe he will take that attack in that straight line in a bit before the first corner, and now we will see how about that draft will affect in that acceleration. And let's see how about Kananen, can he take some advantage about that last corner and taking it, slinging his car to the first or the last corner and to the main straight. But no, the Einar is in between him, so already and only 0.5 seconds, and not now he's taking the draft, and the time is decreasing, and not. I don't think that he will take his move in this corner, but then the next one, and maybe after this corners he will take before that the P turn 4 after this next straight line. So let's see, Petri, can Icelandic driver take the Finn and take that P6 from the Kananen?
Yeah, I think so. Einar, he don't have much fuel on his tank. There's just a little bit of fuel, and his car is so much lighter. So there's a little chance to take the 6th place and overtake the Kananen, but Kananen has more than half tank on fuel, and of course that difference between the car, it's a little bit heavier Kananen car, and always it is a little bit slower. So, and of course, when Kananen and Eera fighting together quite tight, that makes Johansson race a little bit easier. He can just focus on his own driving, and he's not so far on the 4th position. So let's see. Quite interesting thing about this fight between 4 and 5 place, and of course 6 and 7. But let's see, Einar. He doesn't have a lot of fuel. Yes, his fuel tank shows a red light, so he have to go to the pit stop quite soon.
That's really interesting about that. But was the Einar one of those drivers that started in a racing medium? So that will maybe explain that strategy, and he will take that last tint from this lap or the next one. So he will go straightly to the end, take a full tank, and then pull acceleration from those racing soft tires from the next one. So maybe that will explain us that one. So let's see about that. And as you can remember, this is a series about team points only, but we are maybe calculating that driver points also. But the drivers can change between the races. So the team points are mainly that we are focusing. So because I think the Swedes are pretty well put to that. Maybe because they are like a P3 and P4, P5, and also the Finns, but Finland had only 2 drivers, the Könönen in a P2 and a Kananen in a P6, so the points will maybe take a little bit advantage about those positions, and of course the Fransson in a P1 will take more points from this race, but let's see how about the total points are calculated after the race. So please keep in mind that we are calculating the team points.
Wolbeck, he was driving to the barriers and just drop on the position 6, and Johansson make quite nice move on the center corners, and that was tight fight, but thank God. Wolbeck, he has a broken aero on the front of his car, and I think let's see how about that effect on his on the driving. But there was a weak penalties. Okay, so sorry.
Yeah, but it will affect a lot because the Kimpe has driving. I think he can make that overpass try because the Wolbeck's tires are a little bit hotter now, and because the spin in the first corners. And let's see how that will happen. And as you can see, the Wolbeck is trying to keep the car in between those lines and sliding some oversteering and taking this end of and rear of his car is sliding a lot. So let's see if the Kimpe is having his try to make that overpass in this next corner, or at least from the straight line. He got a little bit better exit from the last corner, and I think the Kimpe will make his move and taking this overpass. No, the Wolbeck isn't driving, so never mind about that. He came to the pit and makes his move about from that.
Yes, and Dr. J asking, can we follow lobby 2 as well? I'm so sorry, we don't have a stream on the lobby 2 on this time, but maybe Fyodor, I'm not sure. Maybe Markus, you can say more about that, but today we are streaming on the lobby 1, and this is something new what we are doing here on this English, doing this English, and trying to do our best here.
Yeah, that's today's first step to have you some great racing already, and it was intense that if the Danish team also would have participate, that we would have a full second lobby for the 16 drivers and 14 drivers to this lobby 1. So we are not streaming the lobby 2 today, but let's see what will happen in next races. And if you like to do that, please contact us via your own team or Discord channel from the fast-simracing.com and Discord end of that, so you can join our Discord and then make your own move to the streaming industry about this game. So if you are liking to do that, let us know, and then we will try to make also the second stream for the next lobby. But today only this one, but maybe some drivers are streaming their own driving, and put those stream links to this chat comment, and we will then follow about those. But yeah, today this is one or main event today, and only 10 laps to go, and Könönen is driving really well to the Fransson's rear end, and taking advantage about that little bit faster pace that he will have now. And if you are looking about those lap times, I think there must be like some kind of clocksmiths or some kind of magical touch about those cars. Fransson in a P1, every lap from the last already almost 10 laps are like identical, and also Könönen having it the same one as he, so they are driving like in those cars limits, and making it look so easy, but I think it is not so easy to drive with those pace during this almost 1 hour race.
Oh yes, it's always hard, and there's a little difference between Fransson and Könönen. Könönen, he has a little bit more fuel, and the gap is so close, and when they go in next pit stop, that might be little effect on that pit stop time, but let's see what's gonna happen. That's not much, but it might affect something.
Yeah, but it looks really well about tires, as you said, as you have been said. They can make this full accelerating and full intense laps because of those good tires, and only the fuel will end when it will end, and we will see about that, and you will see more about those specs and that kind of tire wears and fuel wears, and let's see how about the strategy. And I think these both drivers looks like they are so good with what they are doing, and looks like Könönen is looks like he's following what and seeing what Fransson is doing in P1 and making his move about that, and now just keeping the gap really close and having that maybe some kind of advantage about those next pit stop in maybe 2 or 3 laps, or how about the fuel, would it last so much from about these drivers?
Yes, on the third place, Slipstream, I hope I remember right, but he was doing his pit stop a little bit early, and he has a fuel for a couple laps, not anything red on his tank, but let's see. And how about the fourth position? There's over 10 seconds gap on the position 3, so I think there's nothing so special, but let's see what the top 3 is going to do on the next pit stop. So quite interesting situation now.
Yeah, I think there's a pretty long gaps between the drivers, so the last stint or last pit stop will define us how the driving will end or the race will end. I think that few drivers have already took their second pit stop if they are having 2 pit stops, so let's see what will happen after that, and maybe the next few laps will tell us how we are following us all race to the end. And as we can recall, some of drivers have already taken that last pit stop and now are driving the last stint with those racing soft, and now Johansson is already in from the P4 and he is starting that last stint about those drivers who haven't used the medium compound yet. So let's see how this will end. I think we are having a really intense in the last stint, because now the gaps will make so much close and will tighten up the race that now looks like everybody have exploded to that driving track, but let's see what will happen after these few laps, and please follow us and keep up in the race and up in the chat, and please subscribe and follow us from the more about this content. We are driving every third week in Sunday, so let's see how about the series will continue. And now looks like it is not for the one country, and it is great to see how the Team Icelandic have came into this series and now have been in P1 from the start of this race, and now we will see what will happen if they are coming in now. Not yet. Oh, they are driving more than a lap, so let's see. Is there coming more than one lap? Stripstein from the P3 already in, so he was the car and driver that you said took that undercut before this second stint, so let's see how many laps Petri you think these two drivers can now drive more. Is it like this one or maybe the second one also?
Fransson, he has so less fuel. His tank has been red for quite little time, but Könönen on the place 2, his fuel tank is still white, and there's bigger difference between the fuel. So I think the Könönen really pushing hard, and maybe Fransson must drive a little bit slower because he don't have fuel not so much anymore. So let's see, quite interesting situation on our track.
Yeah, looks like there's not so many drivers anymore that haven't took the last stint about or last pit stop. So let's see when that will happen. Will it be in this lap or maybe the next one? I think this one might be the good place. No, the Fransson from the P1 came in, but Könönen in a P2 continued. And as you said, Fransson has already tried his fuel tank and only 1% is lasting. And now we will see how much gap the Könönen can make between this last lap. I think he will not continue more than one lap because he was struggling with those little bit slippery tires. Black ground Pirellis, as you can said, so we will see how will he end in this. And also Kananen from the P3 came in, and let's see can he stay from that. No, Stripstein has overpassed him already, and how about Stripstein, can he overpass Fransson also? So let's see about that test, what kind of different strategy. He took this undercut already, and now he's fighting against Fransson. And where is the Icelandic? No, he's somewhere in the horizon, so only more than 4 seconds. So let's see. But now we are. Can you say, Petri, how much time Fransson took in his pit last time? Because there's now 29 seconds between Könönen and Fransson and P1 and P2. Can the Könönen make that move, or can the Fransson overpass him during this lap?
It's gonna be so tight. If Markus Könönen can push really hard, he might take that time, but let's see what's happening. I think the Könönen just heading to the pit stop, and then we have to just watch. Yes, Mark Könönen, he's going to the pits, and let's see. Now we have quite a tight situation here on track.
Yeah, as the Dr. J said, this is really exciting, and as you can see, the cars in a track layout have been now tightened up also. So let's see how about Jörgen Fransson. Can he take back that one P1 from the Finnish Könönen, or can Könönen start from the grid or the pit before? No, Könönen is not going to take that P1, and maybe the Stripstein also can overpass him during that pit stop. So that will be really interesting to see. How about no, the Stripstein maybe came behind Könönen, so I think the white car is no. No, Strip Team overpassed the Könönen in a bit, so his undercut strategy was like a winning strategy today. So the speed conquered P2, and how about Könösen's stop? It was so long. He took like a more than 6 seconds gap, and now 10 seconds to Fransson. It was 10 seconds more than Icelandic team. So something problems maybe in Markus pit stop. So let's see and maybe hear about that later on. But hey, how about Petr Strip's team strategy? Now P2 and taking this position, I think, all the way to the end because 5 laps only remaining.
Quite interesting situation, and it's so easy to say that Könönen make a mistake to drive that one lap, but maybe there was something happening on that lap, and he take a little bit too much time, but it was so interesting situation, and now Fransson can just drive on the first place and like relax and just go. There's a 4 seconds gap on the slipstream, so let's see. That's a interesting situation, and this is sim racing, and you have to focus on the racing, and that was a miss for the Finns, but great things about the Fransson and slipstream.
Yeah, as the people from the chat already seem to notice the same thing, that maybe the Könönen made some kind of slippery slope in the last corner, so let's see about that. And this is a fight from the P5 and P6 between Könönen and Einar, and now they are taking it this really seriously, of course, but this is not a Sunday driving, even we are having no race in a Sunday, so let's see how about this position fight between Finn and between the Team Icelandic driver Olaf Einar. So let's see who will conquer that P5, and now we are witnessing some kind of friendly battle between these two drivers, and let's see, Petri, who will make this move. Einar is trying to find some kind of gap between the Finnish driver, and Könönen is making his car so wide, and no way he's letting easy overpass to the Icelandic driver. So let's see when Einar can he overpass it from this straight. He is in a draft and making his move before the first corner after this long track and long straight one, and now he's making overpassing Könönen in outer line. And now, cameraman, where are you? Yeah, the Einar has taken the P5, really beautiful overpass from the Könönen, and now he has now the place to defend about that position, and let's see how about Finn will take about that.
It was a so nice move, and there was a quite nice time to make that passing of Könönen, but Könönen is still fighting. And
Contact. Yes. Let's see what happened, and
so sad.
Let's see if the Könönen is waiting.
Yeah,
maybe
he should give that position back, and but there's so sad. That was so tight situation, and hard to say what's really happened, but sad, so sad.
So sad, and let's see how but that will affect. Of course, the Kimpe has now rose to the Olaf Einar's rear, and also the Hoge has overpassed him. So let's see when he can now start driving again with his full intensive focus. And let's hope that I think the Könönen is breaking some speed and having these positions back. So let's see what will happen. But it was an unfortunate event, and let's see what that will make to the end of this race. But I don't think it was intensive move from the Könönen. But let's see what happens. And of course we have a jury that will look over all of these events that every driver can or team can bring up, and let's see how those will end to the end line, and then of course the end results. But let's see, Fransson is already 3 seconds 3 seconds in forward about Stips team, 7-8 seconds Könönen between Stips team, and no moving about these. And Könönen P5 and sliding a lot about with those racing mediums. So let's see. Let's hope that Einar has, he has a rose about in P7, but Kimpe is now P7. So they are battling against each other about this position. And of course we can see the drivers are so close each other, and then they are so much at the same level of racing, so they can fight against in every position. And Kimpe was some sliding, and now Wolbeck is a bit behind him, and maybe the last two laps will define how this position will be divided. I think the Fransson, if anything unexpected will happen, he will continue in his tactics as the winning strategy. Doctors say start first, stay first, and finish first. I think that it will be pretty much a winning strategy for all, Petri.
Yes. Yeah, that was unfortunate accident. This is sim racing, and when the driver is pushing hard on the track, everything might be happened, and that's the name of the game. But on the front, Fransson, he is driving absolutely amazing race today, and of course Slipstream and Könönen, they have a good driving today, and something really strange happening Könönen to the pit stop, but I think we can hear that on later. But so far looking good, and Fransson, he don't have anything on the track, he can just drive. But it's quite interesting to see that the racing mediums are a little bit slippery, and the cars when they exit on the corners, it looks a little bit I'm afraid that the drives are going to go to the walls or something, but nicely handling, and there's nothing to worry about that. But we are final lap, and it's been amazing evening so far.
Yeah, maybe the racing mediums they doesn't warm up as much as they are expecting, so that might be the reason. And of course we have a plenty of wind, also the 4 meters per second, so that might affect also, at least for the braking points and everything else. But yes, as you said, we are in the final lap, and we are witnessing the Nordic Masters Series 5 in 2005, the first race in this Interlagos Brazil race in this Gran Turismo 7, and we are witnessing Jokuli Fransson from Icelandic team. He's taking the first position. If anything will not happen to him, and I think he will focus so much for this last lap. He has 3 seconds to the next one, and only the last corner also, and now full throttle, and we are having our new winner for this series. The country winning country Icelandic have a breakthrough, and it was really nice to see they are joining this series, and all the best for the team Icelandic, and also Sips team. Great strategy for the P2, and now Könönen from the Finland team and to P3, and Johansson from after that is taking now the P4, and Swedes are gathering some good points from this race. Könönen P5 now at least, but I think there might be some kind of jury decision making about that, so let's see. Håge in 6th position, Olaf and Einar battling, and there's a wall back between Kimpe, and now we are within Kimpe is maybe not so much, but taking the 8th position, Wolbeck 9th, and Andersen here the last corners, taking this Norwegian team's third car to the P10, and Egilson of course from the Icelandic third car in these races taking the 11th position, but Finnish team only gathered 2 cars to the end of the line because they Leinonen some kind of technical issues before the car even started from the grid. So But that is Petri like a real time racing. There might be some kind of technical issues, and of course this was a really good start and everything good for the Jökull Fransson from this Icelandic Gran Turismo. So let's see, Petri. Now we will take the full results about this race, and then we will get back to the studio, and of course everybody in the home can now witness how much a great time we can have in this Gran Turismo 7, and please do not go anywhere. We are trying to have some kind of interviews at least from the next race, and maybe not from this one. But Petri, now we are going through the results of this race, and as we can see, Jökull Fransson from the Iceland took his Mercedes and dominated today. I have to say he dominated because he started so strongly, took almost 2 second gap between the P1 and P2 during the first lap, and of course Petri, there's a slipstream's a great strategy and some kind of misfortune about the Könönen, but hey, this is racing, as you said. Hey, this is racing and sims racing and in his best level, so everything can happen, Petri. Everything can happen, and an excellent race tonight.
Yes, it was so great to see that fight, and of course I was expecting what Iceland can do, and it was so strong driving on the first position, and absolutely amazing. Like control the full race, and slipstream also great race, Markus Könönen. It was so great to sit down here in the studio and watch this racing. It was quite clean. Unfortunately, we see a couple racing incidents on that, but jury take those situations, and let's see what's happening. But amazing, perfect track, and cars looking so good, and wow, I really like this.
Yeah, hopefully you also like it in homes and wherever you are watching this, because will continue in Autopolis full track in the next 3 weeks. So the 4th, 16 next. So 3 weeks, Petri, maybe we will see some kind of. There's possibility in rain also because there's random weather, but let's see what will happen. Also the Watkins Glen, it will be interesting to see in April, end of April. So please stay in a channel, and please subscribe. You can witness all of these, and we are trying to make these English live streams also, so you can all watch from the same position and keep focusing and some kind of focusing your own team, and please stay in this, and Petri, it was, as you said, it was a great event and a great evening, and of course nice to again start this Nordic Masters series, and this is really something that drivers will expect, and I think some kind of new drivers might take a step on to the next race, and as we said, the drivers can change between the driving series and races, so maybe some kind of new drivers also. But it was really nice to see all friends, new and old friends from the Norway and Sweden. Of course, we will warmly welcome Icelandic team also to the stream, to the series, and Petri, as you said, it was a pleasant evening, as you said.
Yes, it was absolutely amazing. We have a lot of people on our channel. It was great. A lot of messages from the live chat. That was so perfect. And it's gonna be so great to continue this series, and let's see what's happening in the future. But like I said, Iceland came strong on this series, and really challenged the other countries on this race, and so exciting. And like I said, I'm only doing before this on the Finnish series and competition, so now it's great to see new drivers and good fight, and it was so great, and there was a little difference between the drivers and the strategy, but little things might be the big things on these races, and so good. And I really hope that everybody behind the screens are happy on this our live streams, and we're gonna continue this, and it's so nice to be here.
Yes, as you said, let's continue in 3 weeks, and hopefully see everybody of you joining us also, and please tell to your friends also, and you know where to find us. It's here, and we will continue with our foreign and own series also. So we are having Finnish streams, and we are trying to move to these English streams also. So I'm happily say this went really well, and thank you, Petri, for you participating with me, this commentating a spectacular start of the Nordic Masters, and this looks like it is going to be a great and intense series once more again.
Yes, absolutely amazing, and the fight continues, and we see on the future a lot of good fights and hard competitions, but thanks to you, Markus. It was so great to be here, and this was our first stream on English, and I think we're doing quite well. So let's continue, and let's see what's happening in the future.
Yeah, we will do that, and have a pleasant evening, or what kind of time of day you are having, and let's see you in racetracks, and see you in the next stream. So have a pleasant day, and take care. Bye-bye.
Yes, and have a nice evening there, and see you guys later. Bye.